Happy Friday and welcome to this week's Take 10, which we're going to talk a bit about the Art Deco and how it relates to soft furnishings and style. With me is my design partner in crime, Jackie. Good morning, Jackie.
Good morning. I hope everybody's having a great summer and getting ready for that 4th of July weekend in style.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's dive right in. And today we're going to talk about Art Deco, what the hallmarks are, what it is, and we're going to show you how it's coming to market with some interiors and furnishings and give you some inspiration so you can decorate in Art Deco style. But before we get started, Jackie and I thought we'd kind of define what style is and kind of give us a frame of reference as we move forward. So, typically, style is defined as the fashion of the moment or a particular mode or that you're decorating in, if from interiors. It's, your individuality and how you express it, particularly in fashion. But as Albert Hadley, one of the design icons of the 21st century, said, decoration is not some mystery. It's basically the expression of your personality. So style is this confident mix of old and new and sometimes in between. It's truly deeply personal, and with all the technology that's coming to market, not only in material science but in digital technology, we can definitely, as interior designers, do true customization for our clients. So it's important to understand what style is, because style creates that sort of design vocabulary of contrast. Here, this is a Martin Lawrence Bullard room, which is amazing. I particularly love the ceiling more than anything, but what a great way to express the client's personality. So there are two types of styles when we talk about interiors and interior style. The first is historical style. That's really where the origins are in a particular era. Sometimes it's referred to as a decorative arts period. There's no real beginning or end to the prescribed time period for this historical style, and it usually, the decorative arts period cycle starts with the wealthy and it trickles down. It's about mixing styles from previous areas and then creating sort of a look within a look. So it's Georgian, it's Art Deco, it's Victorian. These are types of historical styles. Global style is really the easiest type of style to work in interiors, because it can be adapted to any location or budget, and it's much easier to achieve than being period correct. It speaks to a region geographically. Maybe it's, Moroccan, French, English. There's no time frame to it. It's indigenous to the culture, so it's all about, how the style is affected by religion, politics, climate, immigration, etc. And there's really no right or wrong to it. When you're designing a period correct room, there is a way to do it and a way to do it correctly. So today we want to talk a bit about Art Deco, or sometimes it's referred to as the style moderne, and it's really about the expression, individual expression coming out of the Art Nouveau period, and it's definitely a mix when we talk about Art Deco.
The thing that I think, before you get started, the thing that I think most interesting about Art Deco is it was such a departure from Art Nouveau. It was, you went from the organic, to the angular, and I think that we're going to see that mix here coming up soon in our time with style.
I absolutely agree. It was like anything, a trend. There's always a counter trend. There's always a reaction, and in some cases, like arts and crafts was a reaction to Victorian. Art Deco definitely, in some ways, was, as you said, a reaction to Art Nouveau. The defining moment for Art Deco is probably the 1925 Paris exhibition of International of Decorative Arts and Industrial and Modern Industrial Design, and it was really an attempt to do a global exhibition in Paris to established France as the arbiter of taste, if you will, throughout the global design, arts, and decorative arts community. It was also produced to sort of modernize French interior design. So they reached out to all of the emerging avant-garde designers, furniture makers, artists of the era, and asked them to exhibit. And it was, interestingly enough, it was sort of like a World's Fair because there were individual country pavilions in the exhibition. Poland, England, the US actually had a pavilion, but it really sort of set the tone and, as I said, was a defining moment for Art Deco. It was really about being beautiful, but also functional. And it's changed this whole sort of perception of France as an arbiter of taste, number one, and then it really made Art Deco a legitimate movement. One of the most important pavilions in the exhibition was the Hotel de Collectionnaire, and it was really this is a picture of the building itself. As you can see, very Art Deco, and it was nothing but a suite of rooms. They were like design sets, if you will, and it was filled with leading furniture manufacturers showing off their pieces and designs, and it really started to set the tone for interiors. Again, people are walking through this, huge crowds wanting designing, it was almost like a sort of a show house scenario, and this is where, then going back to wherever they were from globally and saying, I want to emulate this, I want to reproduce this in my own home. Um, Actually, on the left is my favorite building. I love the Chrysler building, but I think these two
Right.
iconic buildings really say it all when it comes to Art Deco.
Yeah, and if you want to understand Art Deco, in the United States, New York is literally just a sort of laboratory of Art Deco design.
Absolutely.
Many of the buildings there, were really some of the greatest examples in the world of
Hmm.
this style.
And even the interiors. Actually, in
Mhm.
another places, of all places, is Cincinnati.
Yeah,
It was the Hilton, and I can't remember, but there's a downtown hotel that is done in the Art Deco style. The doors on the elevators, the interiors, it's amazing. I fell in love with it.
Niagara Falls also is crazy full of great Art Deco stuff.
Yes, yes, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Buffalo, Niagara
yeah.
Falls, interesting area coming you would never think of, right? You think
No,
South Beach, you think New York maybe, but you don't always think of some of these
well, and
other
it was all
places.
subsidized by,
Yep,
depression dollars.
yep,
So, trying to get out of the depression, which was very interesting.
yep.
You've
Love
got,
it.
yeah, Rockefeller Center. That place is awesome.
That's
If you want to
amazing.
look at,
So it really sort of, Art Deco is part of the whole jazz age, the idea of speed. We have industrial, in design really coming to the forefront, locomotion, cars, there was a whole concept of movement within the Art Deco aesthetic. Movies were, huge. They're coming into their own at that point. The F. Scott Fitzgeralds of the world, living the glamorous lifestyles on, in Newport, etc. So it was glitz and glams, jazz, the jazz age, anything went, speed were definitely what set the tone culturally for the Art Deco. So let's talk a bit about some of the hallmarks of the style. So as a historical style, it's typically Art Deco is defined as a style period between World War I and World War II. And as I said, it encompassed not only art and fashion, interior design, industrial design, product design. So you had lots of different, it was a melding pot, if you will. So you had this whole Egyptian craze that was part of it because they've discovered King Tut's tomb. You had this machine age, train travel, streamlined cars. You had Cubist arts happening with Picasso. So it was definitely marked with fluid lines, much more simpler, if you will, than Art Nouveau. Art posters were a big component part of this, And as Jackie mentioned, geometric shapes, squares, triangles, circles, arcs, very much as now you're seeing some things that you're saying, oh yeah, we're seeing this now today, correct? In all our
Right.
geometrics and our fretwork. It wasn't
All the
as
trellis designs that we've been seeing, it's a precursor to more and more of that, I think.
absolutely. It's not as flowy and busy and fussy as Art Nouveau. And again, the themes were carried through in architecture and in interiors in lots of different ways. Accessories really took the forefront, if you will, in Art Deco versus window treatments, if you will, or bedding. It was all about exotic furs, velvet cushions with fringe, feathers, chagrin-covered boxes, which again in the accessory market are hot right now, right? Lacquer, Lalique crystal and glass, again, another precursor that we were seeing at High Point Market, glass becoming important as wall art and accessories. It's also a period of time for interior design where the profession was becoming just that, professional. Elsie DeWolf was practicing, Dorothy Draper was practicing. Color palettes were now being forecast and set by interior designers. This is the
And
first
Deb,
time.
don't you think that that too was part of the influence of Hollywood and movies and people being able to see these interiors and then wanting to recreate them in their
Absolutely.
homes? And that,
Absolutely.
leads to today where we're seeing things on social media, television and films too, and wanting to recreate those. And before we had films, people didn't get to look in at each other's homes. The only thing that you would see was a museum or a public building or a hotel or a theater set.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Here, this happens to be, this is a modern interior, but these lamps are Lalique crystal lamps, and to built the whole, but again, the upholstered wall, those kinds of things were definitely done in the Art Deco setting, which, translate perfectly into modern day. It's rounded corners, it's taking looks from cars and automobiles, and I mean, things such as mundane as toasters and mixers and radios and transferring that look into interior design. Also, which kind of works for today's too, is there was a lot of new developments in material science in this particular time period, just like there is in the digital world and the material science world today. So we saw stainless steel, chrome, bakelite, huge. Bakelite's a precursor to plastics, and mother of pearls. So all of those kinds of materials are starting to be used in interior design. Lighting was extremely dramatic.
Yeah, and lamination also came into its own
Yep, yep.
with Art Deco.
As this, this table with a rounded corner, I mean, it couldn't been done if it wasn't, a
No.
veneer
Hmm.
laminated and creating those streamlined looks. As you have here, a train to the radio, translating over into this light, which is pretty amazing. And for those of you that want to get inspiration, all you have to do is Google the Great Gatsby with the most recent one, particularly with Leonardo DiCaprio, because you can see this look. Again, some of the Art Nouveau, some very classic looks, very French, but look at over here. You've got this piece coming in. This could be sold at High Point today.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Look at the shape of the chair, the curve on the chair. I also love the curve on the cushion of the
Hmm.
chair. Again, seeing that coming in today, but off of the Gatsby set. And then this is the entry hall in the Gatsby set. But mirrored furniture, mirrored fronts. Look at the wallpaper. How many? What are there? 3 or 4 different wallpapers, maybe?
Oh yeah. And I
5?
mean, you could see this now in a contemporary residence in traditional home.
Absolutely. Look at the chandeliers. I mean, we know we can
Yeah.
buy these on Winkings Lane.
Right.
So definitely great place for inspiration.
And
So
the bar also. The bar was just sort of the ultimate. accessory in the
Yeah.
Art Deco era, wasn't it?
Exactly. And bar carts, are they not
Yep.
like, hot right now as a
Yeah.
accent piece? So the style makers of the period were definitely Jacques Ruhlmann, furniture maker, Frank Lloyd Wright. Jackie mentioned the Rockefeller Center and what Frank Lloyd Wright did with the Rockefeller Center. And in fact, I believe there's a still current in the Schumacher collection is the Frank Lloyd Wright wallpapers and fabrics that were reintroduced and reissued from the Rockefeller Center project. Jean-Michel Franck, the smoking chair in leather. It's almost iconic, not only in today's but modern interiors, but in Art Deco. And then in fashion, which was very much influencing what was happening in interiors, just as in today, Jacques Doucet. You can see here's his 1923 piece, and Jean Lanvin. Actually, Jackie and I just came back from San Francisco and saw the high style exhibition at the Legion of Honor, and there were some 1920s fashion that were amazing, and we were taking like crazy pictures because we're like, this could be a window treatment, this could be soft furnishings, because it was like amazing what we were seeing in some of the detail. This is the Lanvin apartment. This is actually in the Musée des Decorative Arts in Paris. But interestingly enough, she was decorating her apartment during the Paris exposition, and her designer was asked to show at the exhibition, and he declined because he was doing her apartment. But this is sort of definitely an iconic look for Art Deco, which is amazing. Do you not love those curtains up here?
Gorgeous.
I don't, this is amazing. The edge detail. And then, the sofa, the detail work, the gilding, the wallpaper, the relief work is amazing in that apartment. Because
And
it's really sort
Art
of,
Deco too. The home was very much a boudoir lifestyle. You wanted to be running around in your satin, house coat with ostrich fringe and lounging on your brown bed. Like what's her name? I'm forgetting the name now.
yeah,
Not Greta Garbo.
Marlena Dietrich.
What? Yeah.
Well, any one of those, right? Because
Right.
really was about this sort of exotic fantasy
Yeah.
life. As you can see here, some pavilion. This is
Mhm.
actually from one of the pavilions at the exhibition, and this is Raoul Duffy's La Dance fabric that he created in one of the textiles in the area. Don't forget, you had Josephine Baker. There was this whole aspect of the African influence, and as you said, the exotic dancer and the nightclub, and the flapper, and anything goes, that was creating
Yeah.
this culture that was creating interiors.
And it
And,
was glorifying forbidden subjects and making them mainstream.
and
Things that had been considered too risque or too exotic. Now they were becoming mainstream.
which is, actually in a lot of ways is an undercurrent in today's society when
It
it comes
is.
to interiors. So the Art Deco motifs are, definitely the zigzag, the sunrise, the chevron, very exotic, flame stitches you can see, palms, stylized flowers, which are sort of a leftover from Art Nouveau, elongated figures here. You can see that Egyptian looks, um, common motifs. Here the triangle in a close-up of the Chrysler Building, Giselles, fountains, nudes, and women were, also in fabrics and textiles and in art pieces and accessories. Here are some wallpaper borders. And then these are actually hides on hair, but these are from Kyle Bunting, one of my most favorite rug designers today, but very Art Deco, particularly not only in the color, but in the geometric forms. Materials were stainless, mirrored, chrome, glass, lacquer, inlaid woods, exotic skins, shark, zebra, chagrin were definitely part of the mix in furnishings, as you can see here, chagrin mirrors and furniture, boxes. Interesting take on metallics and mix in that chair.
And I mean, every one of these items could be in a showroom today.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
they are. We're
Yeah.
seeing,
Yeah.
those exact items.
I mean, mirrored front was sort of, as you said, the precursor to, we were seeing lots of mirrored furniture was kind of the first move into Art Deco. Now it's becoming, lucite, particularly as we saw at last market, exposed arms with exotic woods, exposed backs, here that rounded corner, that shape on a club or a tub, that Jean-Michel Franck silhouette. Interesting dichotomy in colors. You have this sort of like pale, monochromatic, soft, neutral backgrounds, and then you had, pops of color and hot accent colors. Black in every room, particularly whether it was in metal or lacquer. Lots of mirrors for reflection of light, and then, that typical, we always think of bathrooms with it, right? Mint green and black. Here's a great example of sort of that soft pastel makeup colors is backgrounds, and then you brought in these interesting colors as pop. So also a lot of monochromatic color schemes done in interiors, and textures and pattern were what we're setting it off. So if you're working in Art Deco, you kind of want to do sleek, cool, streamlines, leather, patent leather, silks, and using it all in different shades and tints, if you will. But you always have to put metallics in. Here are some wallpaper examples, but whether it's textiles, wall coverings, rugs, upholstery, there has to be some sort of metallic accent. And these are from today, correct, Jackie?
Yeah, this is Susan Jameson. She has Bridget Berry. She started out with the paint company. She's now doing wallpaper and I believe fabrics. And you can see she's extremely influenced by Art Deco. I think,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much everything she does has an Art Deco feel to it. But she's doing just beautiful, sort of modernized renditions of Art Deco
Mm-hmm.
motifs.
So great motif, and then you've got,
That
again,
light.
dramatic lighting.
Yeah, I don't know who that light was from,
Oh,
but
it's
it's pretty
amazing.
fantastic.
Right. So because we're all about soft at Soft Design Lab, let's talk a bit about Art Deco fabrics. Again, it's leathers and suedes, satins, silks, that whole glamorous
And
aspect of it.
I know a couple of you guys were with us on the tour, will remember the beautiful, subtle leathers that Toby Fairley had on her collection, and her iconic chair with the brass
Hmm.
arms was absolutely all Art Deco influenced. I mean, it was
Absolutely.
straight out of the catalog, wasn't it, Deb?
Absolutely.
And the
If you're
color palette and everything.
if you're working in pattern, it's again, angular shapes, very, very stylized floors. This almost says arts crafts, these two over here,
Yeah.
but these are much more Art Deco influenced. Bold color, if you're using an animal print, especially use zebra in the black and white, and then something that has a little bit of metallic thread in it, or an ink on it, or a foiled finish. Some of the new exotic leathers that are tanned out there, whether it's in bold color, or we're seeing embossed leathers with really interesting designs and metallic finishes, wash finishes to it. Again, just like in the time period today, um, not only are fashion designers being influenced in textiles, but so are interiors.
And we had the reboot of the Scalamandre zebra, iconic zebra pattern, 2 years ago?
Yep,
And I mean, that's definitely right on the mark, as far
absolutely.
as an Art Deco fabric goes.
Venetian blinds, window treatments kind of took a back seat. This is where, from a window treatment perspective, the white goods, um, basic Kirsch superfine Travis rod came into existence because it was about function versus decorative, and you were accessorizing and doing bedding and not worrying too much about what was happening on the window. But um, this to me says Art Deco. I love the idea that it's this soft sheer on an eyebrow window, and then we have an iron lambrequin in front of it. Uh, just
That's a great design.
it says F. Scott Fitzgerald, right?
Yes, absolutely.
It does. But as you can see, very plain curtains tied back, screens at the window. And we also at Point Market saw a lot of screens coming in as accent pieces and furniture. And why not use them at the window? You know, bedding with monogramming pieces, you know, that really set off that amazing headboard and the exotic woods. This is actually an Art Deco room. Don't you love the trade ceiling and then the backlit stained glass?
I
But
feel like I need to go to church in
I
that room.
know. But what I want you to notice is the upholstered surround.
Yeah,
Not only the upholstered surround on the bed, but this, because in October at Ambella Home, this is the modern version.
isn't that great?
Yeah, I love this
Yeah.
idea. It was one of my
And
favorite
that, so you
pieces.
take a period room like that, and then you see the modern interpretation of it.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's really kind of amazing to see how it's grown and changed.
Absolutely. You know, again, puddle draperies, but definitely simple. Certainly stationary panels on rods are the
Mhm.
precursor. Amazing headboard here, not to mention the side tables with the metallic accents, but when you talk from a soft furnishings perspective, this is pretty crazy, right? Upholsters on, if you're on the call, can you imagine? Or this bed. I mean, what can you do besides a fur throw and white linens on here because the bed's the focal point? Or these chairs, and we saw this silhouette at High Point with a and trim
And we
coming back.
saw we saw bullion fringe coming back, which is also a hallmark of Art Deco style.
These are two vintage chairs on First Dibs. Because windows weren't important, what were for the foundation of the room were area rugs. So you wanted to do, angular motifs. Maybe you're working in monochromatics with bright colored accents, very lush, plush, shaggy, using those motifs that we talked about before. As you can see, here's a room done, period room. But look at the carpet. And thinking that you're coming out of Victorian, right, between World War I and War II, this is, as Jackie said, a dramatic departure from what
Oh yeah.
was in homes and all the bric-a-brac and tchotchke. You know, so let's talk to kind of tie it all together. We've talked about the style makers, the hallmarks of the style, what to look for, color palettes, soft furnishings. Let's talk about then and now. So here you have an Art Deco piece with chagrin faces, and where we're seeing it at market was done in upholstered fronts or laminated fronts or decoupaged fronts. This happens to be Ambella Home with a faux leather upholstered front to the pieces. Or if you take this particular chair, this is a vintage Art Deco chair, which again could be in any showroom today, right? This is Bernhardt and their version of it done in wood and of all things faux fur on
That was
as
a
upholstery.
fantastic chair, wasn't
It was in a
it?
fantastic chair.
But again, that's your fur reference, so it's taking the bent wood and the fur and applying it in, what would have been a steel frame.
And here's the chair you mentioned. This is Toby Fairley's club chair. Again, that mint green. Interesting inset brass and leather arm inset on the back and on the front. It said steamer Art Deco to me all day long.
Yeah.
Um, Again, an uh, Art Deco chair from the period, and then this is Worlds Away, isn't it, Jackie?
Yes.
In the burl wood, and then also notice the rounded shapes.
And we saw those shapes over and over again at market.
Mm-hmm. Bedding,
Yeah,
paper.
This one, has that, it's not the Bridget Berry paper, but very geometric paper.
Mhm.
And then, when you see it in Urban Outfitters and Anthropology, it's sort of hitting its peak. And so this is a wallpaper available at Urban Outfitters.
Mhm. Amazing tiles.
Tile, isn't that great? Tile is really going Art Deco. Kelly Ellis for Tile Bar. I don't know if it's ACTO or AKDO. I don't know what the name of that. That one says Chrysler Building or Statue of Liberty to me. It looks like buildings, but that's a really classic Art Deco style. But again, you notice that they're inserting the mirror
Yeah.
in there, and then the circular motif as well.
Yeah. It's love it. Love all
Mhm.
three of them. Or these papers are amazing too.
Oh yeah, I mean, love that. The fan, peacock fan paper, and then the tile application in here is sort of a classic
Mhm.
hotelier style in the Art Deco.
Yep.
And, all the way down to drapery, door hardware, doorknobs, and then electrical plates. Again, those are from Anthropology. So, that is always sort of our signature to know that something is hitting its peak.
Absolutely.
You talk about the trend curve, right?
Absolutely. More papers and geometrics, and then of course the mirrors. And we saw mirrors all over market, as wall art. You know,
Yeah.
coming at this beautiful John Richard, black and gold, another color scheme that we saw at High Point that really kind of reflects that Art Deco feel.
Exactly. And then this beautiful room just sort of pulls it all together. The rug is stunning. And
Hmm.
you've got the, geometric shapes, and you've got the angular pieces, and
Yeah, look
the
at the
little
arm on
round
that
chairs
chair.
that are
Oops.
almost exactly like those ones.
Yep. Dot and bow in the pillow. I think that that's very similar to a paper I just had in an
I
earlier
think it's the
slide.
same pattern.
Yeah, wouldn't be
Hmm.
surprised.
And then a more sort of modernized version of that. And then Global Views table, it's an iconic table. I had to put in this sofa because it's just such amazing craftsmanship, and it's definitely an Art Deco inspired fabric. But look at the pattern matching on that thing. I would have gone blind, but it's just fantastic.
It's amazing,
The
and I love the
piece of
leg.
work.
Or some of the other things that we were seeing is, embellished three-dimensional surfaces like these palettes on, I think this was Bernhardt, and this
Hmm.
was it metal or was it paint?
I think it was metal.
It was metal front, or this is a Curry and Company rosewood desk with the brass stretchers. Lots of plexiglass, starting out with legs, clear, transparent looks at High Point, and then why not top it off with a fur on this little, Mongolian lab stool, which is amazing. So when we're talking from then and now, it's like here are some basic, not basic, I should say, but here are some period fabrics, vintage fabrics, and this translates into a new rug that was just introduced into market from Tansy. It's like, it could be a fabric, it's a rug, it's amazing. It just says Art Deco. Or Mitchell Gold, which kind of reads Art Deco. It also could say 70s, but again, the brass, the updated, the fur on the tub chair, the swivel.
Well, the new prediction is that we're going into 70s retro
Yeah,
sort of phase in fashion, especially. But it is a natural sort of transition from
yeah,
Art Deco because it was all inspired by Art Deco as well.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
we just used way cheaper materials in the 70s. We had carpet instead of rugs, linoleum and formica instead of beautiful laminates. So.
There you go. So to finish up for our Art Deco soft style, just wanted to give you some inspiration with some interior shots to inspire you to maybe move into the Art Deco mood. Again, another aspect we didn't mention is this whole sort of wood exposed arm, which is key in most pieces coming out of furniture market these days.
And you know what? The thing that we saw with Christian Drohan collection too was mimicking that with a contrasting band of fabric on a fully upholstered arm, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, Loved that also. These are actual I had to put these in because I think they're so interesting. Look at this flat pelmet valance and the
Hmm.
sheer and the drapery. Maybe we're going back to layering. Let's hope, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Lots of hard surfaces, and then we have this cute little Priscilla curtain as a shower curtain, right?
Crunchy curtains, here we come.
And I love the idea is like you step up to the bath and then you step into the shower. But this stool, this whole silhouette in this stool is definitely, we saw at market.
Yes.
Now, how about this room with the fireplace and the streamline kind of, it also harkens to a little bit of mid-century modern. Ripple fold draperies. Oh my gosh. The bane of my existence some days. I love this mirrored piece. It's like crazy. And the ceiling work, that's definitely where all the money in the budget goes. And last but not least, we want to invite all of you to come with us to High Point Market in October, October 17th, or excuse me, to the 22nd. And it is our VIP High Point Market experience where we are going to take a group of 20 buyers, first-time buyers, or for those of you that haven't been at market for a while. And it's a mix of exclusive events, CEU education, dinners, parties, private showrooms. We've done all kinds of things, and from the reviews that we got for the first inaugural out of the gate at Spring Market, we've going to repeat that, and it'll be even bigger and better, we hope, in October Market. So we have an early bird offer, which ends July 10th on the pricing. Trust me, you can't do market on your own at this price and do all that we do. You know.
No, and you'd be staying at the Holiday Inn Express, which is lovely,
Or
I'm sure.
Motel
I
6.
have stayed there. But it's not really the way that you want to see market. You want to see market with a group of friends that are like-minded and you can hang out with, and you have your own sort of posse and entourage to roam around and just have a great time. And we had such a blast on the first one with our inaugural group. They were such a great group,
Oh,
and we're so excited to be able to offer this to people again in cooperation with Market. So we're just very excited. But do sign up early and save the few extra bucks, and we feel it's going to fill up pretty quick. So don't wait.
absolutely. You can visit our website, softdesignlab.com, and click on the tours at the top navigation, and all the information and details are there for you. So thanks again for this week's Take 10, and watch your inbox for the upcoming one. Everybody have a fabulous 4th of July holiday. And Jackie, we'll see you after Atlanta Market, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Bye-bye, guys.
I have fun.